in other places. And I've been very strong believer that what we need to do in education is go to the full voucher system. I know this isn't what you care about, but this is what I care about a great deal.
Well, this is exactly what we care about.
Okay, great.
This was believe it or not, this was at the end, and we're
one
just
of the
getting
things
it now.
that I feel is that right now, if you ask who are the customers of education, the customers of education are the society at large, employers that hire people, right, things like that. But ultimately, I think the customers are the parents. Not even the students, but the parents. And the problem that we have in this country is that the customers went away. The customers stopped paying attention to their schools for the most part.
And gave their kids to the...
Well, what happened was that mothers started working, and they didn't have time to spend at PTA meetings and watching their kids' school. Schools became much more institutionalized, and parents spent less and less and less time involved in their kids' education. And what happens when a customer goes away and a monopoly gets control, which is what's happened in our country, is that the service level almost always goes down. I remember seeing a bumper sticker when the telephone company was all one, AT&T, the Bell system. I remember seeing a bumper sticker with the Bell logo on it, and it said, "We don't care. We don't have to." You know? And that's what a monopoly is.
Sure.
That's what IBM was in their day, and that's certainly what the public school system is. They don't have to care. Now, it turns out, let's go through some economics. The most expensive thing most people buy in their lives is a house. The second most expensive thing is a car, usually. And a car costs, average car is approximately about $20,000 now, $16,000, $20,000. And an average car lasts about, 8 years? Right? You buy another one.
Yeah.
So approximately, $2,000 a year, right, for an 8-year commitment. Well, your child goes to school, right? Approximately 8 years in K through 8, right?
Right.
You don't like to switch schools. It's about an 8-year commitment. What does the state of California spend per pupil per year?
I have no idea.
In a public school?
I have no idea.
What they spend per year per pupil is about $4,400.
Wow.
Okay? About over twice as much as a car. Now, it turns out that when you go to buy a car, you have a lot of information available to you to make a choice, and you have a lot of choices.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, General Motors and Ford and Toyota and Chrysler and Nissan, they are advertising at me like crazy. I can't get through a day without seeing 5 car ads. And they seem to be able to make these cars efficiently enough that they can afford to take some of my money and advertise to other people with it, so that everybody knows all about these cars. And they keep getting better and better and better each year because there's a lot of competition.
And there's a warranty.
And there's a warranty, that's right. But in schools, since people don't feel like they're spending their own money, they feel like it's free, right? No one does any comparison shopping. Matter of fact, if you want to put your kid in a private school, you can't take the $4,400 a year out of the public school and use it. You have to come up with, $5,000 or $6,000 of your own, or even $4,400 of your own money.
Sure. Or more.
I believe very strongly that if the country gave each parent a voucher, a check for $4,400 that they could only spend at any accredited school, that several things would happen. Number one, schools would start marketing themselves like crazy to parents to get students. Secondly, I think you see a lot of new schools starting. I've suggested as an example, if you go to Stanford Business School, they have a public policy track. They could start a school administrator track. So you could get a bunch of people coming out of college, tying up with somebody who just got out of business school. They could be starting their own schools.
Sure.
You could have 25-year-old kids out of college, very idealistic, full of energy. Instead of starting a Silicon Valley company, they'd start a school. And I believe they would do far better than many of our public school teachers do. The third thing you'd see is I believe that you would see the quality of schools, again, just like in a competitive market, start to rise. Some schools would go broke. A lot of the public schools would go broke. There's no question about it. It would be rather painful for the first several years.
And deservedly so.
But I think far less painful than the kids going through the system as it is right now. And some people, the biggest complaint is, of course, that schools would pick off all the good kids and all the bad kids would be left to wallow together in either a private school or the remnants of the public school. To me, that's like saying, well, all the car manufacturers are going to make BMWs and Mercedeses and nobody's going to make a $10,000 car. Well, I think the most hotly competitive market right now is the $10,000 car area. You've got all the Japanese playing in it. You've got General Motors that spent $5 billion subsidizing Saturn so far so that they can compete in that market. You've got Ford, which has just introduced 2 new cars in that market. You've got Chrysler with the Neon. So
you're spending $32,000 and you're getting a $500 used car in some cases.